Hello, everyone. This is Claudia. There are people coming in already, which is great. And so we will just wait for some more people to come in, and I will introduce this people who are doing our next session, who I can see waiting there, keenly ready, which is great.
Claudia, we're happy to just get going because we're keen to just get started because we're quite time tight.
Yeah, I can see that people are literally coming in as we speak. They're coming in. So if we wait 10 seconds more, then some more people will be in, so they won't miss who I say you are, which would be nice. So we have heard there about mentoring, and we want to turn now to the idea of peer circles for professional development. So let me introduce Tasnim Tarani and Beth McManus, who are running this session. They are co-founders of the Centre for Psychology at Work. Taslim is an organisational psychologist, coach and trainer, and Beth is also an organisational psychologist and coach, and she's an illustrator, another of these portfolio careers that are very impressive. So let me hand over to you for the session.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Beth and I are really excited to introduce peer circles to you, and also to introduce you to our newly founded Centre of Psychology at Work. And you can see all the co-founders on the slide, and also on our website as well. We'll be sharing the link to you at the end of today. And some of you will have met some of us earlier today. I know that I've been really vocal on the chat. We've heard from Vicky, we've seen Pavneet and Beth in the stories, in the career stories as well. So over the years, we've noticed that so many people, those entering into the profession and those who have been engaging in psychology for quite some time, haven't always been able to touch into that sense of community and connection. And sometimes this profession can be quite isolating. And we've heard some of those themes come through in some of the sessions already today. And in the earlier sessions, we've been talking about how to touch into that sense of community and connection. Hazel talked about collaboration. Binna and Stephen responded to some great questions around building relationships and social capital as well. And in addition to this, we heard from Vicky earlier today, who talked about how we grapple with professional identification. And so it's not always clear to those outside of our profession what we do and the impact that we can and do have. And I'm not sure about your experiences, but mine is that we often know the impact that we have as people who apply psychology at work, but more broadly, organisations, societies, and those around us are not necessarily aware of the benefits that we can bring. And so what we're hoping to achieve with your support is to really energise and unleash the power of psychology through community, through connection, and through collaboration. And so at our centre, we believe that community plus energy can bring about significant impact. And so not only do we at the centre want to share the work that we're already doing, but also to work more closely with the broader ecosystem of psychology at work, academics, practitioners, professional bodies, funding bodies, public and private sectors, societies, and with other disciplines as well. We really want to bring everybody together so that we can innovate and impact in the areas that really matter to us. And our hope is essentially that the centre becomes a central hub for psychology at work globally, so that more people can really see the impact, influence and contribution that psychology at work can have on individuals, organisations, societies, like I said, globally. This is a pretty big vision, and you can read more about it on the landing page on our website, which is still a massive work in progress, so don't be alarmed if it's very minimal at the moment. We imagine our initiative is going to evolve. It's evolved a lot already. And one of the things that we want to do as a starting point, which is really why we're here today, is to support that cultivation of connection, community, and collaboration within our profession. So I'm now going to hand over to Beth, who's going to share more about how we can do this through peer-led discourse and the concept of peer circles.
Thank you, Taz. I can't seem to turn my video back on, so you're just gonna have to listen to my voice from the ether, I'm afraid. We haven't got very long together today, so I'd like to focus really on giving a very brief and broad introduction to this concept, and hopefully to make you feel really excited about this opportunity for collective development with us at the Centre for Psychology at Work. So a peer circle, in its purest form, at its core is an opportunity for a group of people to come together as equals, to talk, to share and to problem solve, to explore a topic such as adversity or kindness at work, a challenge or a process together, a gentle but powerful process that builds us up through one another. Who uses them? Anyone who is united by a shared interest. In this case, people who are interested in or use psychology at work. Sheryl Sandberg's Lean-In circles are a well-known example, with over 28,000 circles in 141 countries. Otto Scharmer's Theory U uses coaching circles as intentional spaces for compassion and collective dialogue. And there are others using peer coaching or peer circles in educational and social purpose settings. Their purpose is to build accountability and reflective practice, to build authentic connections to the self and to others. How might we use them? Peer circles are opportunities for slowing down and taking stock, allowing us to pause, to allow reflective practice and to build that reflective muscle. Experiencing psychological growth through developing a psychologically safe space as a group. Experimenting with dialogue techniques for peer-led discourse. So we're looking at dialogue models from the theories of Bohm, Isaacs, and in Kramer's Insight Dialogue. Peer circles give participants space to pause, to reflect, and to connect to their self and the group, to the process and the whole community. In early 2021, we will be running a short pilot scheme of our peer circles practice and then evaluating the process, the impact, and the outcomes. After this evaluation, we want to bring this practice to life with you, our community. At the Centre, we aim to provide participants with opportunities to engage in reflection and dialogue techniques with others, united not by experience, expertise, or other aspects that allow hierarchy to creep in, but by creating a psychologically safe space for shared and unique perspectives in an intimate group. There are other offers that we hope to promote and cheerlead, such as the fantastic mentoring programme that Hardeep, Nikita, and David introduced in the previous session. These fulfill different needs, and we hope to build something a little different. By removing the hierarchy of traditional expert learner development, everyone in the peer circle has the opportunity to contribute at the same level. Nobody in the room is the expert. Even the person holding the space is simply prompting the group through the process and takes equal part in the practice. At the Centre, we want to embrace everyone who is interested in using, researching, or learning about psychology at work, regardless of their qualifications, membership credentials, or experience. These things are important for us as practitioners, but are not significant for us in the role of peer as we understand it here, where we are joining as humans with all of ourselves. Based on our experience of peer-led practice and the existing literature and examples from other communities, we have a loose design and our first theme, Origins, an exploration of what led participants to where they find themselves in the now, helping people to understand their own narrative. We will be running the pilot in January, February, and an adjacent peer inquiry process to explore our community's views, with Peer Circles proper launching as a public offer in March, April. More details will follow if you're interested in signing up, and it will be free to take part. It's important to note here, there is literature supporting group dialogue and peer coaching or peer circles for development and growth, and I'm happy to share a list of resources for those who are interested. But this opportunity has been developed in response to a need, and I would urge us all as practitioners not to get too bogged down in research first, but to play, to explore, to experiment, and to bring ideas and research together in harmony as the idea develops. I'm now going to pass you back to Taz for us to spend some time pausing, reflecting, and connecting together.
Thank thank you, Beth, for just really briefly expressing that and about peer circles. So now's an opportunity just to take a pause and to notice what's arising, perhaps just any thoughts about what you've heard, ideas popping into your head, and what you'd like looking into the year ahead as well. So just taking a moment to pause and allow the thoughts to emerge. And sharing any thoughts in the chat or in the Q&A if you would like to now. And we're going to move on now to reflect on some questions. And this is really part of us wanting to engage in a dialogue with you all to help us shape peer circles, but also the centre more broadly as well. So Beth, if we can move to the next slide. Brilliant. So one of the things that we would love to hear from all of you is really thinking about what are some of the themes or topics that you might like to explore in a peer circle. So if you were to join our initiative and participate in a peer circle, what might be some of the themes and topics that you would like to explore? And just sharing your thoughts either in the chat box or even in the Q&A. So either would be great. Yeah, Amanda, that's a really interesting question. What's the difference between a peer circle and action learning set? And if we have time at the end, then we would definitely respond to that question. And they are quite different because but I'll wait to respond to that. So thank you, Tice, for getting us going, and lovely to see you. So yeah, careers and resilience would be a theme. Are there any other thoughts that you might have? Creative collaboration, yeah, so how can we actually collaborate together? Thank you for sharing that. We've got transition awareness, yes, COVID transitions, Brexit transitions, absolutely, they would be brilliant topics. Best practice and innovation, lovely. Wellbeing and boundary, oh gosh, that's a really interesting one, isn't it? Those boundaries between home and work. Diversity and inclusion, that's been a huge theme throughout this year particularly, but for many years as well. Different kind of employees and cultural practices at work. Boundaries, there's somebody else who's talking about boundaries, ethical leadership, brilliant. Keep these suggestions coming in. It's really helpful for us to know what you'd be interested in exploring in peer circles. Work involving international collaboration, Mohammed, really interesting. Stress interventions at work, the lack of primary interventions, absolutely. So in the discussion chat, I'm seeing some more themes come through. So professional identity, I think that's a really key one actually, Nicola. It's come up a lot today as well, hasn't it? Themes in different industries, how to integrate current world issues into projects. Yeah, Black Lives Matter, climate crisis. And Amanda, actually, that is one of, in terms of the centre, that's something that we really want to be doing. We want to be bringing together lots of different people and different voices, working really interdisciplinary to start addressing some of these societal issues that we're seeing in the world, and learning how we can, as you say, integrate that into our work as people who apply psychology and use psychology at work. Integration behaviour, psychology in action, career confidence, brilliant. Thank you so much. So many great ideas and comments, and we're definitely going to take all of this on board. Career reinvention, I can see. Us and them, in and out, Hannah, that's so important, isn't it? To actually not work in these dichotomies and to try and kind of break down those barriers so that we can, as Cudgel, you've said, to create a really inclusive culture. And that's what we're really aiming for with peer circles. We're really hoping that through the process of peer circles, which is a really experiential process, where we really aim to reduce those hierarchies, we can cultivate this inclusive culture, which will then expand hopefully beyond peer circles as well. Yeah, social interaction, what we do as a community, and better share good practice, absolutely. And I love that, Amanda, moving from the individual to focus on community, absolutely. culture and culture change. Brilliant. So keep those ideas coming in. We're going to move on to our next question now, which is a little bit broader. And this next question is really about these things that you've been talking about. So Amanda, moving from individual focus to community focus, thinking about culture, thinking about connection. So if we think about our experiences within organizational, occupational, business, work psychology, or applying psychology at work, what do you think would enable you to feel a sense of community and connection within the broader context of psychology at work? That's something that we really at the centre want to be moving towards. So we'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas. You know, what is it that you would need or want to really be able to feel that sense of community and connection? So yeah, shared values, inclusion, sharing research more openly. Mirka, that is really, really key, I think. You know, how do we cultivate that open access to academic research so we can really bring together academia and practice? And in the last conference in January 2020, Brian Nosek, who has founded also a centre for open science. So I'd look him up, Brian Nosek, who's really pioneering this, and we would really want to support that initiative as well. So small discussions in groups, let me just read that. Yeah, enable really meaningful conversations, absolutely. Yeah, how we can make ourselves relevant to organisations, Ernest, that's a really good point. You'd feel more connected, to know that you can collaborate with others who are looking outwards, not inwards. Amanda, absolutely. And that's essentially the goal of the centre as well. So we'd love to hear from you and would love you to connect with us. Regular open contact with people you get to know and trust, absolutely. Vulnerability, absolutely, Margaret, I love that. And we've actually heard that from Beth. I don't know if any of you saw her personal story talk today. She really, really lived that. How we can build bridges with other disciplines, absolutely. Again, that's all things that we really want to do. I'm just going to move over to the Q&A. Local networks, thanks David. Collaboration beyond Zoom conversations, wouldn't that be wonderful? Yeah, thank you, Cudgel, for your kind comments as well. You know, thinking about how we can network more effectively, open source mindset, love that. Finding solutions through collaboration, acceptance in cultural differences and working in a team, brilliant. Practical applications and best practice, yeah. One of the things, I don't know if Rachel Lewis and Jayaka are on this call, and we haven't spoken to them yet about our initiative, but I don't know if any of you have seen their Affinity Health at Work hub. Google it, it's brilliant. And what they do is they kind of gather research from academic and practitioner sources, and they basically provide a systemic a kind of mini literature review on kind of key topics within health and well-being. And that's, I think, something that's really brilliant, and it's really useful for both practice but also academics who want to get a kind of quick overview of the topics. Thank you, Pavneet, for sharing that. Yeah, so this is what we want to do. We want to find a way to bring all of the amazing things that we're already doing, but really cultivate and harness that energy so that we can do even more, which is our aim. Yeah, so Andrea, you said there's a lot of parallels with anthropology in organisations too. Wow, that's really interesting. So I'd love to hear more about that. I think we can learn so much from other disciplines, and I know people have talked about diversity and inclusion, and I think anthropology, also critical race theory, there is so much that we can learn from sociology, from all of these other disciplines that will be really supportive. Ingrid, who's one of our co-founders at the conference last year in January 2020, we held a session there as well, and she always talks about psychology being a voice amongst many voices. So if we think about diversity and inclusion, there are so many voices in that space. You know, you have your activists who do a lot of work in that space, and then you have the organizations, the broader systems, governments, you have psychologists, you have anthropologists, you have historians, you know, so many different voices. You have media, movies, TV, poetry, and we all have a pivotal role to play, and we really want to link everyone up together so that we can have an even bigger impact. And that's really one of the things we want to do. So Hazel, thank you. You've just shared a great initiative will add value to the profession. Yeah, absolutely. And Hazel, I loved the quote that you shared in your talk as well earlier today. You know, I think that you really expressed that so beautifully in the quotes, in the perfectly chosen quotes that you shared. So, so we've got a few minutes left, and do keep the comments coming. We're going to make sure we save them. We want to continue a dialogue with you, so do keep in touch with us. And I'm now going to hand over to Beth just to round the session off, and then we've got just a couple of polls that we would like to share as well. So Beth, over to you.
Thanks, Taz. I should just say to everyone that my tech is working against me slightly, so I can't see any of the comments, but I'm really looking forward to reading back through them. It sounds like a really engaged and interesting conversation. Really briefly, before I give you some dates and information, in a nutshell, the difference between being part of a peer circle process and an action learning set is that this is not a solutions focused or action orientated space. As Taz said, it's experiential, it's emergent and evolving process. So it's not about finding answers, it's about building connection to community, building connection to topics, exploring things in different ways, and exploring dialogue. So there isn't really time to go into that in any more detail, but I did just want to pop that out there. So we've got a couple of dates in the diary on the 28th of January and the 25th of February. They're both Thursdays from 6 till 7:30 p.m. Taz is going to be running 2 peer inquiry sessions. The one in January is going to be more general and is going to be about connection and community. The one in February will be specifically about peer circles and will be helping us to shape that process. Unfortunately, we know that that time isn't going to work for everyone, but we're doing our best to try and be accommodating. So if you would love to dearly be involved but can't make that time and date, you can still send us your thoughts. We will look at what else we can do to accommodate different times and other people's commitments. And if you'd like to register your interest in attending either of those sessions or any that we hold in the future, or in getting involved in the Peer Circles programme, Taz has kindly allowed us to put her email address because we discovered 5 minutes before that our centre one isn't working. So we don't want to send any of you in a direction that you can't reach. So if you email Taz at thrivingtogether.co.uk to register your interest, and we will be in touch. And please do follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn as well, and we can keep you posted there.
Yeah, so just I just want to flag up in terms of contacting us that I might be a bit slow to reply, but because there was going to be 7 of us responding to these emails. So yeah, so just do please bear with me. So we just want to end with a poll. So the first question, I'm going to put that up first, is would you be interested in participating in peer circles? So that's the first question. Just a quick yes or no. We're really interested in hearing your thoughts and your views. And it might not be for everybody, which is absolutely fine. So that's the first question. The second question, which I'm going to share now, is would you be open to joining a dialogue with us to help shape the centre through peer inquiry sessions? So these are the sessions which are going to be on the 28th of January and the 25th of February. We cannot achieve this without all of you. We're going to need everybody on board, the professional bodies, ABP, BPS, SIOP, various others, and all of you. We really want this to be about all of us, as well as all the other professions and people that can support us in really making a difference on things that really matter. And then finally, the question is, what days and times of the week might work for you? This might be opening a bit of a can of worms, but just so we can get a ballpark sense of when people are available, what we'll probably end up doing is rotating the dates and times that we do things so that different people can engage with us in different ways. And as we move through the next couple of months, the website will definitely develop. There'll be more content on there, and there'll be different ways that you can engage with us through social media platforms and various other things. So yeah.
Taslim, I'm aware you will get cut off in your prime in 55 seconds time. So
yeah, I'm aware of that. We want to go straight. We want to go right the way through, if that's okay.
Well, thank you so much. I do need to tell people that they will need to come out again to join the next session in a moment. So yes, you have 40 more seconds to say anything else you want to.
So I just want to say, just really thank you all so much. We've loved engaging with you today. Thank you all for sharing so much with us. We really appreciate it. Beth, in the last 20 seconds, is there anything you'd like to say? I've just got a huge thank you, really.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm enormously proud of the other women who have helped me to found this centre, and we need you to join us. We want you to help us shape this, and hope that you feel as excited as we do about really building better community within our profession. And thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. See you in a moment, everybody.